If you're dreaming about designing and building with bamboo, or you are just curious about sustainability and building community through natural materials, you are in the right place. Welcome to Bamboo U. My name is Luis, and today I want to share with you some exciting news. As you might know, alongside with Ibuku Studio, we've gathered over a decade of knowledge about design and bamboo construction, and here we are to share it. So, you know that we run in-person courses here in Bali, 11 days fully immersed in bamboo, and today I want to share something special with you. The design process of the prototype we will be building in the October Bamboo U course that will start on the 10th of October. The Kul Kul Farm pod is a small, intimate, and also experimental structure that blends design, innovation with the unique possibilities of bamboo construction. And every project that we have been doing here at Kul Kul Farm and all the projects developed also by Ibuku, every project begins here, just with a line on paper. Sketches are our way of thinking with our hand. You might know Juhani Palasma, this architect, was the one that implemented that idea to think with your hands. It's a way of exploring ideas without the digital constraints. So it's a way to explore ideas, and also this is where the path and this is where the idea of the project first came to life. Its shapes, its proportions, its relationship to the landscape, and I really like to think that when sketching, that sketch, what you are drawing in the paper, is sort of like a memory of the future. It sounds a little bit difficult to understand, but that memory is sort of like a vision of something that does not exist yet, but is already waiting to be built. So once we have the initial idea, then we translate it into the digital world. Here we run several iterations, we play with proportions, we take this design further by using Rhinoceros 3D and together with Grasshopper. So these tools allow us to explore shapes, to test parameters, to do form finding, and a very important element is understanding the structural logic of bamboo. So you can see here like 3 different iterations of how the skirt roof will work in a way of how we're gonna place the rafters, if we're gonna do our grid shell, how the curvature responds to overall the structure. So with parametric design, we can quickly generate a lot of variations, a lot of iterations through the digital model. And also it allows you to discover forms that feel both very organic but also buildable. Because in the 3D model, there's some elements and there's some constraints that you might, that they are not gonna be buildable, but they look very nice in the 3D model. So it's always like back and forth from sketches, 3D model, and also scale models. So in this course, in the October course, it's not just about seeing a prototype model. You will actually experiment with the material yourself because we're gonna build this. And the challenge is always in how bamboo meets itself, in the connections, the curves, the way each piece adapts, because every single piece, every single bamboo column, every single split is different. So even we are working on a 3D model and everything looks perfect and everything looks that fits perfectly, then when we translate that to the reality, it might not be the same way. So at this stage, we analyze the strength, we analyze the flexibility of the material, and how the Kul Kul Farm pod will stand in the ground, will breathe as a structure. So I'm gonna walk you through how we really work on Grasshopper and Rhinoceros, what are the parameters that you can play with, and how a simple coding just to play with the shape and with the roof lines of the project, you can have all those several iterations. So let's jump into Rhinoceros and Grasshopper. Okay, so here we have our Rhinoceros file, and on the right side of the screen, the Grasshopper file with all the script that controls the shape and the parameters for our shape of the Kul Kul Farm pot. Using a 3D mouse on my left hand to see that smooth. So basically what we're looking at is a circle 5 meters diameter, and then this line that will control the entire shape of the roof. So by plugging that curve and lofting that shape to a top ring, that's the way that we're gonna start playing with that. So few parameters that we were using, if I open these windows, you will see that there's a group that I created here that controls a center point for the top ring. If I'm opening the top view and I'm able to move in X, in Y, and also the height of that circle. So what it does in a perspective view, you can see that the shape will move and it can sort of like dance. So you can start like form finding. So what it's doing is actually just moving the top ring of that part. You can also play and move the height of that. So it gets more interesting when you start playing with more parameters, for example, with the radius of that ring. Open it up or putting it smaller and a smaller diameter. The most interesting part is when you select this curve that is the outline of the entire roof line, then you can select some control points and play with them, moving them from its location, maybe higher, maybe you want them to be closer to the central diameter, and see how everything is reacting and everything is playing and moving according to the parameters or the movements that you can use. So at this point, we're playing with Rhinoceros curves, but also with Grasshopper files. So give yourself time to play with it, to explore the shape, etc., until you have one that you like. Once that you like one shape, you're gonna go and bake this loft, and what you will see is a shape already baked in Rhinoceros, so you can play with that and you can start doing a lot of iterations. I was mentioning before how you can play with Rhinoceros and Grasshopper to get as many iterations as you want. Here you can see we play with different surfaces, with different shapes, how the rafters will look and behave in a structural way. And then by playing also with all those iterations, then you can go crazy and have as many as you want. The way that I like to work is starting with one piece and then going down with some iterations. Then you will see that I'm moving to the left, so it actually you can read from one of the others, like how the process has been developing. For example, from one roof line and from one surface, and then evolving to 2 different surfaces, or then 3 different ones, and so on. So by spending a little bit of time and exploring the shapes and exploring how you want the roof line goes and how the roof will behave, then once you're ready, then you can start working on how the arches and how the structural elements will be working, how you're gonna place some lily bundles that will connect everything, and so on. I'm moving to the right side, meaning for me that I'm going into like more detailed process of the project, adding some arches, some spaces between the roof lines and the surface of the roof until I'm getting to the final model. So now that we are happy with the 3D model and with all the several iterations and final product that we want to build, finally the vision comes alive. Renders and visualizations allow us to imagine the Kul Kul Farm pod not just as a building, but as an experience. Light filtering through, the texture of bamboo, the atmosphere surrounding the space. That's the way that we really like to understand architecture and to understand bamboo design. More like an experience, more like how you're gonna interact with the space, with the surroundings, with the nature. So this is where you can see the future taking shape. And understanding that architecture is not just technique, but also mood, also emotions, and also storytelling. So this journey from sketch to 3D model, to structure, to rendering, to construction is the very same process you will experience in our October Bamboo U course. And it culminates in the real construction of the Kul Kul Farm pod built with your own hands. And if you dream of designing and building with bamboo, because this is the perfect opportunity for you. You will gain tools, techniques, and above all, be part of a collective, creative, and transformative process. So if you're interested in participating on our upcoming course, click on the link below in the description and book your space. We look forward to welcoming you in Bali this October and build the future with bamboo together. Thanks for joining. See you next time.